I met Prince Andrew through Jeffrey Epstein. He asked to come to my class at Harvard Law School. He came and sat in the class, actually raised his hand, made a point. Then the dean had a dinner for him. This was all before Epstein was ever accused of anything. Nobody, Epstein at that point knew the very close friend of the president of Harvard, the provost of Harvard, Noam Chomsky, David Gergen, you name it. Almost every major academic was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. And so all of these people were there at the time, and nobody suspected that anything was wrong, or he did anything at all that was untoward. And as soon as I found out that, my relationship with him changed completely. I did represent him as a lawyer, but he had to pay me for every minute that I spoke to him. It was never a friendship after that. And once the case was over, my relationship with him ended. He would call me on the phone periodically to check about the status of his earlier case, but we didn't have a relationship or a friendship after that. I was introduced to him by a very elegant and eminent woman named the Lady Rothschild, Lynn Rothschild, the wife of the Lord Evelyn Rothschild. And it was in that context that I met Prince Andrew. He came to my class, and then he wrote me a letter, probably worth a couple of bucks now. I have his letter, a Dear Alan letter, signed to Andrew, in which he thanks me for inviting him to the class and describes how much he learned in the class and how, he mostly learned on the street because he was in the Navy, he hadn't had formal education, and that he would love, and this last paragraph says, and I would love to continue my education with you and Jeffrey Epstein, because he was learning from Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein used to have all these conferences and all these big events that fancy people went to. Nobody suspected anything of this kind. But hindsight is not 20/20. Hindsight really can really skew what you see. Hindsight can be 400, 800, because you see things in light of what happened, and people say, "Oh, how could you not have known?" Well, we didn't know. Here's the best proof that I had no idea. One day, I was talking to Jeffrey Epstein before anything happened, before we knew anything. He was at a conference at Harvard. He had a seminar. And he said, "What are you doing for Christmas?" And I said, "Well, my granddaughter, who went to Horace Mann, has a soccer tournament." "Where?" I said, "In so-and-so place." He said, "Oh, that's right near Palm Beach. My house is going to be empty during Christmas. I'm going to be on my island. Why don't you just use the house instead of going to a hotel?" I said, "That's great." And so I brought my wife, my daughter, my daughter-in-law, my granddaughter, my grandson, my son. We all spent 4 or 5 days in Epstein's house. If there had been a single inappropriate picture, I would have been out of there so fast. If I had known that anything untoward had happened in that house, that's the last place I ever would have gone. But